Good morning and welcome to Digging In with Extension. I'm Matt Johnson, the horticulture agent here at the Robertson County Center of North Carolina Cooperative Extension. And working on magic with the camera, of course, is our own Cheyenne DeJarnett. Magic fingers, there she is. So we're actually going to do some planting today. It's fall, and fall is one of the best times of year to plant or transplant your shrubs, trees, whatever that you have in your yard. This is actually a fig tree that we rooted back in the spring, and I had seen it.
Cuttings from a tree.
From a cuttings, yes, and we actually had on, I think we showed that on Digging In with
did.
Extension too, some pruning that we did on a fig tree in Fairmont. And I did not know this was this large. Shay has actually, this is one she took home and has been nurturing, and we're gonna plant it today. So now's a good time to plant it, and we'll just talk about a few things about planting. She has it in a container. We've actually just watered it, so that'll help the substrate stay together, hopefully when we move it to its new home, its permanent home. But we talk about site selection. We look at Shay's yard here. Shay, you don't mind me referring to your yard, do you?
I don't mind.
Okay, so we are in Shay's yard.
Yeah.
But you can see she's got a lot of shade. Fig trees are like most of our fruit crops and vegetables. They really need a lot of direct sun. So we do have a corner in this area over here in the back. We're actually kind of close to the street, but we're looking at a spot, and we're assuming that this fig tree, the mature size is probably going to be about 15 to 18 foot in diameter. So we want to stay far enough away from the fence, and we've got two fences to deal with, so we want to stay away from them so that you can actually walk between the edge of your fig bush and the fence. So if it's going to get 15 foot in diameter, that's going to be 7.5 foot from where we planted, and we have walked it off, and we're approximately 10 foot away. So that should allow 2 or 3 foot extra a space, a buffer, so to speak, between here and the fence. So we think this is a pretty good location. Again, you can see the sun. We've got direct sun most of the day, I would say.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
So I think this is probably the better location that we can find for this fig tree. We're gonna dig the hole. We're gonna dig it, we can dig it wider than the pot is. You can see how this is a pretty large pot, and you can feel roots. I was really surprised at that, but I think I was on the other side and I could feel the root mass already reaching out. But you don't want to dig it any deeper than the actual pot is already, because you want to set it on firm soil so that it won't settle any or become too deep as you plant it. So we're gonna start digging. If I don't hit roots.
Yeah, hopefully not. Now I've got to be honest, 2 trees have come out of this area in the last few years, so it is possible that there are roots.
Yep, there's one.
Not anymore.
No. You don't have any kind of cardboard or, yeah, no, that's all right, don't worry about it.
You know, things like lawnmowers, weed eaters.
Damage.
Yes.
Yep.
Good idea, not such a good idea.
Good idea.
Okay.
And if you had some mulch, we could place that as well. Trying to get the grass up.
So Mac, did we pick a good area to put the tree in?
I think we did. It's good, well-drained soil. You definitely want that. Can't talk a lot, can I?
It's okay. I know you're digging and you've been digging. Thank you. We haven't had too many tree roots. We had
No.
1 or 2, and they were definitely not part of anything that's alive. So
I've tried to separate when you're digging the hole, the turf from the soil underneath.
the soil, not the dirt, the soil.
Yep. And it may not be deep enough.
Well, we'll find out. What do we need to do? Just kind of stick the whole pot
Actually,
in?
what I'm gonna just, I'm just gonna stick the pot and see.
We're awfully close, aren't we?
We are. So it's hitting something on the other side. Yeah. You see that ridge is a little higher. Not have it too low now.
So it's better that it's wider,
Yes.
not deeper.
They actually, you can dig it as much as 2 times as wide.
Mm-hmm.
And most of our roots on most plants are very shallow, top 6,
Okay.
8, even 12 inches. So softening the soil around it allows for easy penetration of the new roots that are going to start growing. Again, not softening the dirt, soil underneath it. Let me repeat that. Not softening the soil underneath it. Prevents it from settling.
Okay.
A lot of times we have plants to die. A lot of times I'm called out on why did my plant die? And statistically, if it dies within the first 5 years of it being planted, it is considered part of the planting process, probably caused it to die. So
Okay.
again, planting it too deep is pretty important. You don't want to do that. Avoid that at all costs. I'll leave you got a little bud coming off there.
Yay!
Yeah. Cool. Looks good.
It's been a good
So-
cutting into a good tree. So,
Got a grub.
that rub.
Yep. I didn't really look at the roots on the turf.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't notice anything, but a lot of times most of our insects, a lot of our beetles spend the winter as grubs in the soil, and they do enjoy eating the roots. I can't tell you who this is. It could be a Japanese beetle, but we're going to dispose of it.
Are we going to commit organic pesticide?
It's not going to survive. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys can see it, but well, she's gone now, or he.
It.
Yeah. And we buried it as well, so good deal.
No more grub.
No more grub. All right.
Those are little guys that the moles or voles chase, right?
Yeah, but moles love them. That's what they're after. So if we were in a soft container,
Mm-hmm.
we would actually press the sides to help dislodge our plant,
But we're not.
but this is not. So what we're going to do basically is just try to move it to its new location without too much of the soil coming dislodged from the root ball. And again, that's why we wet it prior to doing this, to help it hold together. So we're gonna I may have to take, I didn't bring my knife. You can see it moving.
Yeah.
There it comes.
There we
Wow.
go. It apparently liked that pot.
Yeah, it did.
Oh my.
Look at the roots.
Oh my goodness.
This is awesome. This is amazing. So we're going to actually tease these. If we left them in this position, they would continue to grow in a circle and actually could choke the plant out
It
in
was
a matter of
so it was definitely time to pull that
a
out.
few years. Yeah. So we're just teasing them out. And it would be okay to trim a few back if you wanted to. Awesome.
That's amazing because we took that cutting in February and we probably planted the trees in about May.
So
Ooh.
I'm a little deep here, but I'm pretty much right on target everywhere else. So I think we're good to go.
And just fill back in with soil.
That's it. I'm actually going to push that up under it. Just this edge. Notice we're not amending the soil we put back. That's another recommendation.
Why is
A lot
that?
of times folks want to put something else extra in the hole that we dug, but recommendation is actually just fill it back with the native soil that come out of it.
Okay.
For one thing, if we create a perfect little bowl for those roots to stay in, that's what they're going to do. If they're happy, if we make them real happy, if we add a lot of amendment, compost or humus, organic matter, they're going to tend to stay in that and not spread out into the native soil. Here, they've already reached the edge of this substrate that they were in. They're going to continue to grow. So we're just putting the native soil back. We're not adding anything else to it. We're going to put it in. We're going to build a little berm, a little raised berm around the edge so that we can water this
Not a
thing.
hill towards the trunk.
Say again?
Not a hill towards the trunk.
No.
We're building like
no.
a moat.
This is around the perimeter of the planting, the actual hole we dug, so that we can water it and the water will stay there and soak in. So that's the next part of the process. Alright, so we're finishing up the hole. You can see it worked out to be about level with the existing. I think we're right there at it. One thing I do like to do is the fact that this is still exposed, so it's going to dry out quicker and actually act like a wick on a candle and pull moisture out. So one thing I do is I would just cover it so that it won't be directly exposed to the sun. I don't go putting a whole inch. Again, I just cover it.
Just kind of dusting it so it's
Yep.
covered.
And now we've got a lot of soil left, and we're actually going to go around the edges and build a berm. We'll have to come back and shape it up a little bit with our hands properly.
So it's going to look kind of like a moat in there.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're doing. We're creating something a basin to retain this water, so that we could actually fill the basin up and walk away. We don't have to stand here for 2 hours waiting for the water to soak down into the root zone.
Okay. Because otherwise the water would just run off to wherever in the yard.
And
The tree would never get it.
would have no benefit whatsoever.
Okay.
I know it's been cold this week.
And it's
The
going to get
soil-
colder.
Soil temperature is still fairly warm. Roots can still grow. Again, now's the perfect time to transplant, move, or even plant. If it's a container, we're actually pretty lucky. You can plant a container plant almost any time of the year except during the dead winter when everything's frozen. But we should. Next year we'll come back. So Shay, take care of it.
I'm going to take care of it. As a matter of fact, Mac, do you think that berm can hold some?
Well, I know it'll hold some if you pour it inside.
All right.
Like I said, I may go around and kind of tighten it up a little bit. So there you go.
I'm going to make it rain in here. Okay, so that's the end of that water and out of that water can. And Mac, it looks like it held really well.
Yes. Yep. Perfect.
So that was probably, what, a gallon, 2 gallons of water?
Yeah, I'd actually probably put another gallon to it
Okay.
as quick as that's soaking in. So again, it's probably still going through what was in the pot, that easy mix, that substrate. But we want it to go in. We want to settle the air pockets out of everything that we've just disturbed. So yeah, I would probably saturate it pretty good,
Okay.
at least this first time.
And then how often would you say, come out here and water it? Because it is a new transplant.
Dry, and it's still dry, and those roots are growing. So I would recommend, I would come and check it.
Mm-hmm.
If it feels moist, you might could get by twice a week, I'm thinking. And then obviously, even if it loses its leaves, the roots can still grow. So, but wait until maybe the first freeze.
Mm-hmm.
That's when everything's really dormant, and it should get through the winter okay.
Okay.
In spring, you might want to keep an eye on it as well when it starts greening up, depending on the conditions. If it's dry or if we got kind of a regular moisture level,
Until it
regular
gets
rain.
more established, like some of the bigger trees in the yard.
Right.
Well, that's awesome, Mac. And that only took us, honestly, although this is time lapsed and cut, that only took us about 10-15 minutes to do.
Awesome.
So.
Yep. And it should be happy here. This should be a really good spot for it.
So hopefully next year I can share figs with y'all.
Yeah. There you go. Very good.
Well, there you go,
Have
folks.
a great weekend, everyone.
Bye. See you next week.